Hey guys, Jason Hitchings here with Adept Defense. So I'm back at the range today with my M&P M2.0 Compact because I kind of want to take another look at this gun, and I've got one modification that I'd like to make to it and do a little bit of testing here with it today. I haven't done a whole lot of work with this gun since we did our 1,000 round review on that 4-part series that we did on this channel. I've got a cleared out gun here. It's sitting right now right at the 1,500 round mark, so I've only shot at 500 rounds since we finished that review. I have carried it a little bit since then, but I do most of my teaching and my training using the Agency Arms Glocks or my Gen 3 Vickers Edition Glock 19 is the one I teach my Defensive Pistol 1 class with. So I haven't had a lot of time to come back to this gun and put many rounds through it. So I met with one of my students at the range this week, and he's looking at changing from the platform that he's running into a Glock platform, and he really likes my agency guns. So he wanted to get a little bit of time behind one before he makes that type of investment and jumps into an agency gun. So when we met at the range, I brought this gun along with 2 of my agency builds, and he got to get a decent amount of time behind the agency guns, and then I put this in his hands and wanted him to try this too. And if you've followed our review series, you know that this is pretty much a stock gun with the exception of the Frank Proctor sights and the Apex Flatty trigger kit that I put in it. One of the things that he first mentioned about it after handling it is he really liked the trigger a lot. Then he put some rounds through it after putting some rounds through the Agency Glock 19s. And the thing that he said exactly mirrored what I feel about shooting this gun too. He said after shooting the Agency 19s and then shooting this just felt a lot more flippy and a lot more of a sharp recoil impulse, and the agency guns just had a little bit smoother of a recoil impulse. They track a little bit faster and they return on target a little bit quicker and more consistent than this gun does. So I was going to try to see if I can change that on this gun. So I did a little bit of research on it, and I found that Frank Proctor makes this kit. It is his stainless steel guide rod for this gun, which is black nitride coated, and then the spring comes separate, but he recommends a 13-pound recoil spring, which I'm guessing is quite a bit lighter than what comes in this gun. I did a little bit of research and I didn't find exactly what spring weight these come with stock, but I do know that a Glock 19 comes with an 18-pound spring. So if this is anywhere similar to that, being that this is the same size gun and dimensionally the same and kind of a competitor to the Glock 19, I'm guessing the spring weights are somewhat similar. So if this gun comes with a 17 to 18 pound recoil spring, going all the way down to a 13 is a pretty big change. And what happens when your recoil spring is heavier than it needs to be? When the gun recoils and the slide comes to the rear and then it returns back into battery, with that extra spring weight, it returns back into battery so hard that it slams the gun home and it will actually dip the muzzle. So you'll get that little bit of muzzle flip from the recoil followed by a dip when it goes back into battery. And what that does is it just creates a lot more movement in both directions before you can get those sights back lined up and on target ready for a follow-up shot. So by changing to a lighter spring weight, this slide will track faster and it'll return back into battery smoother and a little bit lighter, so you don't get that big muzzle dip after your shot, and your sights will return back on target quicker. So I picked up the guide rod and recoil spring kit from Frank Proctor, and I'd like to do a little bit of testing. I'd like to shoot the gun with the stock spring weight and then change it over and shoot it with his spring combination that he likes, and see what my thoughts and my feedback is as far as what the recoil impulse is and how the gun returns into battery and how the sights come back on target if it's smoother and faster with a lighter spring weight. These do come as 2 separate pieces. It's the guide rod and the spring separately, and I already assembled it. And all that I did was compress the spring on the guide rod, and there's just a screw at the end of it. I put a little bit of Loctite on the threads, put that together, let it sit overnight, so now it should be ready to run. Alright, so first we're going to run it with the stock recoil spring in it, and I've got a 124 grain full metal jacket, just practice ammo. I'm going to run a mag through it, and then we're going to switch springs. All right, let's swap out that spring. Alright, so there's really nothing to swapping out these springs. Just verify that there's no magazine, the gun is unloaded, lock the slide back, rotate the takedown lever down, then you can let the slide forward, pull the trigger, and it comes right off the frame. Once we get the slide off the frame, the spring just pops out. We got the new one here from Frank Proctor. We'll pop that one in the barrel. Lock the slide back once again, rotate the takedown lever up, and it's ready to go. So let's put some rounds through it using this spring, and we'll see if I feel much of a difference. Alright, so I've got another mag filled with the exact same 124 grain full metal jacket that we just ran through with the stock spring, and now that we've got the 13-pound spring in it, let's see how this shapes up. I've got one more mag here with 115 grain, so let's see how that does. Alright, so my initial impressions after those two mags with it, when I ran the first mag of 124 grain with this spring in it, it did feel like it came back into battery smoother and I had less sight deviation than with the original spring. Then switching to the 115 grain ammo, the 115 grain ammo seemed a bit snappier of a recoil impulse than the 124 grain ammo did, which is pretty common for a lighter bullet weight to feel a little bit more snappier under recoil, and then you switch to a heavier bullet, it has just a little bit more of a straight push to it and less snap to it, and that's exactly what I experienced. And with that 13-pound spring, it seemed to have a lot better feeling recoil impulse with the 124 grain ammo, and the slide just returned into battery and the sights returned back to target much quicker than it did with the stock spring. And then once you went into the 115 grain ammo, you got a little bit more snap to it, and it took just a split second longer to line those sights back up again. And I shoot probably 90% of the time I shoot 124 grain, because with my carry gun that has an RMR red dot on it, those are zeroed for 124 grain, so that's primarily what I practice with. So I'm probably going to keep this spring in this gun because it does tame down that recoil impulse a little bit and does change it for the better, in my opinion. And I need to put several hundred rounds through this to make sure that it's going to be reliable as it was with the stock spring before I start carrying it again. So I'm going to stay at the range for a bit longer today and put some more rounds through this gun and make sure it continues to be as reliable with this new spring as it was with the original spring, because we had 1,500 rounds through this gun with great reliability, so we want to make sure that we retain that reliability with this spring weight in it. And there is one other thing I'd like to mention in this video. After doing the 4-part review on this gun, we got a lot of positive feedback, and a lot of people requested more of the same, more in-depth reviews such as that. And the reason I did that review is because I almost exclusively shoot Glocks, and I know there are some people that just don't want to be a Glock owner. They want to have something different. So I wanted to be able to give an informed opinion and recommendations. So that's why I went out and purchased this gun myself so I could do a review, because I've heard nothing but good things about this, and this is the same size as a Glock 19 and a direct competitor to it. So if it was a gun that I found was a really good and really reliable option, and I can recommend it to my students and my friends and people that ask me for recommendations, you know, that was the whole purpose of doing that review. And other people are asking for more of the same with other guns. And one positive thing I'd like to announce is that this channel just got sponsored by Retro Firearms, which is a local gun store in Petoskey, Michigan. And they will occasionally be giving me guns to review, either used guns or brand new guns that they get in. And they just got a couple new guns that just hit the market, and they offered me to do a review and a video on it. And then I also have one gun on order with them right now, and there's no availability of it right now, so we're just kind of in a holding pattern waiting for their supplier to get one and ship it to them. and then I'll be picking that up, and that will be another gun that I'll be able to have at my classes for people to try. So I'm not going to make that announcement as to what it is yet, but that will be coming very soon. I'd like to give a big thanks to Retro Firearms and what they're going to be doing for the channel. And if you're in the northern Michigan area, check out their website. They're able to pretty much get any gun that you would like them to get for you. They have a gun search option on their webpage, so just go there, look up the model of gun, and it gives you the price, and you can order it and have it shipped directly to their store. Then when it comes in, they'll contact you and you can go in and do the transfer, and it'll be as easy as that. Retro Firearms is also now sponsoring Adept Defense training classes, so if you come take a class and become an Adept Defense alumni, you'll have some cool discounts and stuff coming your way from Retro Firearms. So huge thanks to them for that. And if you'd like to take a class and become more proficient with your gun or your carry gun or home defense gun of choice, check out our website at adeptdefensetraining.com. We've still got a few classes left this year with some availability in it, so if you're in the northern Michigan area and would like to learn how to run your gun more proficiently and more confidently, then check us out. I'm Jason Hitchings with Adept Defense. Seek training, become adept, and I'll see you on the range real soon.